Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. This remote castle has been many things in its history. It's had its fair share of bloodshed and pain, and supposedly many ghosts roam here. That's why we decided to come and investigate Kasteel Ammersoyen in Holland.
Built in 1350, this building has passed through the hands of many families. Sometimes inherited, it was on other occasions fought for. Many of its battle scars have resulted from warring Dutch families, as well as Spanish and French occupation. A deadly fire in 1590 left the grieving Van Arkel family in near financial ruin, and with no option but to leave the building partially repaired. Since 1873, Ammersoyen acted as a convent, village hall and even a factory until its purchased by a castle trust in 1957, when it was finally restored to its original splendour.
This is a fine example of a medieval Dutch castle. There have been sieges laid to it, plague, death, murder and intrigue. And the amazing thing about not only the Dutch but many Europeans is that they just don't seem to accept that there are such things as ghosts. And to be quite honest with you, we're here to prove them wrong. They do admit to at least 2 ghosts actually haunting this place, which for us is a damn good start.
The sheer beauty of this castle hides its sheer terror, as many of its victims met their end down here. For the smallest crime, a person will be dropped through the hatch and into the cellar, where they would either be tortured or left on their own to die. So it's no wonder that dark shapes and strange groaning noises are heard on many a dark night.
There are people or ghosts here. I experienced it myself for once when I was alone in the cellar, just on one place. And then I had a visitor on my left shoulder, and when I want to look at it, her, him, it goes with me. So it doesn't show really, but it's turning like this. And when I go further into the cellar, then it's gone.
Since his death down here in the cellar, the ghost of a vicar has been seen floating across the floor many times.
For some strange reason, in 1873, Arthur de Velmont, who owned the castle, gambled his property away to a Catholic priest, and it was taken over by the church. The place became a convent and had nuns in it until 1946. Whether there's a connection with the priest that haunts the place and either the nunnery or that gambling debt, nobody knows.
It is said that a ghost nicknamed the Blue Lady haunts the whole of this castle, but it's in this tower room that she's been seen more than anywhere else. Her form has been seen by many people, and employees feel sick just standing in some of the rooms.
The ex-manager, he always felt the presence of a Blue Lady in certain rooms of the castle. One night he slept in front of the fireplace here. When the whole area was evacuated, he didn't want to leave the castle. For all the days he was here, he felt that there was someone with him, and which was a very pleasant person. And he thinks that might be the lady in blue.
A former lord of the castle died here during a fire, and since then his ghost has been seen roaming around the whole of the building, along with many other victims. Strange feelings and dark shadows have also been witnessed along dimly lit corridors and rooms. So why do these entities haunt this castle? We have 24 hours to find out.
Parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe has joined the rest of the Most Haunted team on our second investigation in the Netherlands.
So Kieran, what are you expecting tonight in this particular castle?
The eyewitness accounts in this castle have focused more on apparitions and a sense of presence. So hopefully, with all the cameras around, we will capture some sort of apparitional phenomena in the same way we're looking to get the team to report exactly the sort of feelings they're going through, both on the walkarounds and also in the vigils.
Now, I've been doing a little bit of table tipping. It seems to be working incredibly well. Is there anything else that we can do, maybe tonight, maybe enhance already what we're doing?
I think sceptics might argue that you could put in further controls to make sure that no sort of fraud is being committed. However, the way that you've conducted the table tipping so far, with ensuring that you have cameras on the floor so nobody's moving with their feet, is fine. In terms of taking it slightly further, a lot of groups reporting table phenomena have also reported knocks on the table. So perhaps in questioning, when you're sitting around the table, you could encourage the spirit to communicate via knocks, perhaps placing some objects from the castle on the table.
So which out of the locations that you've already seen do you think that most people will be fearful in?
I think most people will be fearful in the dungeon. That's certainly where a lot of people have had unusual experiences, and also, given its history, the association with death and torture, that suggestion is going to raise anxiety levels, and people are going to be quite frightened down there.
As part of the investigation, Kieran will conduct several experiments to monitor for paranormal activity. Medium Derek Akora has also been invited to join us in the Netherlands, arriving at this remote location just before filming commenced. With all the crew eager to see what the night would bring, it was time for the Most Haunted team to investigate Kasteel, Ammersoyen.
I'm getting, the only way I can describe it, I'm getting two things coming from the atmosphere, coming from the ether here, and they seem to be intermingling with each other, and I don't really know what it means, but I'll tell you what my impressions are. It seems as if I got, for some reason, a Spanish atmosphere or influence, and then it transports, for some reason, as crazy as it may sound, to like a French atmosphere. So I feel at some time something has happened here where there's been, I know it's a castle, but I feel there's been a lot of fighting going on and a lot of people being huddled together and pushed together. Incarceration, it's as simple as that. And I feel a lot of misery and a lot of unhappiness and a lot of howling and screaming. And I also feel you know, nasty things happening to some of these souls.
What sort of things?
I feel that there's been, without a doubt, there's been a torture, because that's thick and fast. Now, it's not just housed down here, Evie. It goes up.
Right.
For some reason. It goes up from this chamber. And I've got someone who comes down here. It's a spirit person, a spirit man. And he's very, very strong when he's down here for some reason. Very strong. I'm going to copy exactly what my guide Sam said. And he said, Joris comes down here. Joris. Joris. And he died because of the result of the great flames engulfed in this castle.
So he died in the fire?
Yes. Okay. And he walks around still to this day. And he caught, thank you, he not just here, but he causes a lot of disturbance throughout the castle. Yes. He keeps on saying Van. Go on, more please. Van Arkel. Van Arkel.
Okay.
Van Arkel. Lord Joris Van Arkel.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam. Bless you.
What date? I need a date.
Can you give me a date, please? Go on, give it to me, just put it in my mind's eye. Wow. 5, 9. Oh.
Is that when he died?
Is that when he died?
Right. In the fire. So there was a fire here in 1590?
According to Sam.
Right, okay.
1590.
Great.
And since then, He's not been at peace or at rest.
Over 400 years since his tragic demise, the spirit of a former lord of Ammersoyen appears to still reside within its ancient walls. As we made our way across the building to its southeast tower, Derek is drawn immediately to the cellar.
Now, can I tell you something now, because you're going to scoff at this? You really are. Do you mind me saying this? What have I just seen down there? Am I going silly or crazy? But I've just seen washing machines, and they're just stacked up. Washing machines here.
I have no idea.
Sounds terrible, doesn't it? Stupid. Yeah. But there's washing, and I can hear the sound of the of washing machines. This here, it's like a blinking washing machine factory. That is strange.
Very unusual too, because it's almost, it's difficult to explain from a parapsychology point of view, because it's ghosts of washing machines almost, which is
very strange.
Object, so
it's picking up on the old energies and things that were here.
There's washing machines all over the place. And you know, I noticed a man again. I know it's a replay of residual energy, but it seems as if he was busy, and there was a lot of busyness in this area of machines, I feel, being built, and a lot of men at work, and the one that was above, or like a supervisor or I don't know, a boss, was very hard with them. Very hard.
Already Derek had sensed two extreme historical references for the castle. From the horrific circumstances that led to George van Arkel's death in 1590 to the 20th century housing of a washing machine factory. We're delving deep into the building's colourful past. But what other, more sinister secrets lie undiscovered at Kasteel, Ammersoyen?
If I knock on this table, can you try and knock on the table after me?
So far, our second investigation in the Netherlands has revealed the possible spiritual energy of former landowner George van Arkel, who died following a huge fire at the castle in the late 16th century. And with a rich array of noblemen having resided here, would we unearth any other energies in the southeast tower?
Up on this level here, now since we've come up in here, I am aware, I thought it was the same man I talked about earlier on, the spirit man, and there's another one. And he seems to be, he walks right the way through this level, and I'd be so surprised if he wasn't heard, you know, audibly, sounds walking right across the boards. And he's another agitated spirit soul.
Why?
Why, son? He loved, thank you, he loved this castle dearly. He loved it. What's his name, Sam? Have you been speaking? Oh, he's been talking to Sam.
Oh, good.
Thomas. Thomas?
Thomas.
Thomas, give me more, please. Thomas? Thomas van Arkel. Thomas van Arkel.
Arkel or Harkel?
Arkel, I feel he's saying. Arkel. He keeps on saying he passed, he died, feeling broken.
Like a broken
now, I don't
heart.
feel, I don't feel physical. 16, 6, 8.
Okay.
He's given me 6, 1, 6, 6, 8.
Okay.
And you felt, go on, give me more. Thank you, bless you. He felt as if he didn't have, he didn't have his wealth. He didn't have wealth anymore.
So he lost all his money.
He lost all his money.
Ammersoyen belonged to the Van Arkels for almost 200 years, and again Derek appears to have sensed the misfortune that befell this family. The fire that destroyed much of the building in 1590 not only claimed the life of George, but left his ancestors financially ruined. A century later, the final inheritor Thomas van Arkel died, and with him went his hope of finally rebuilding his beloved home. Dutch, Flemish, Spanish and French speakers are all known to have occupied the castle, and Kieran is keen to know how Derek can effectively communicate with such varied languages.
Derek, I hope you don't mind me asking, but just to get some understanding of the communication that you're getting.
Yes.
Given we're in Holland,
yes,
it's a language you don't understand.
No.
And if these spirits are communicating,
yes,
what language are they communicating? Is Sam, does he speak Dutch?
Yeah.
You know, it's an unusual question.
Yeah, and it's a very valid question. I found, linking with Sam for the period of time as my guide, that he's an absolute need, a must, to be the intermediary, so to speak, especially under these conditions. And he would... It's said, when you leave the physical body, your interaction on the spiritual levels, you can understand there's one universal language, so to speak. Okay. And he can converse and helping me, because I wouldn't have a clue if someone was speaking to me Dutch or German or anything like that. But no, I've got to count on my guide that way.
Okay.
Is that to say then that if you have a séance in a foreign country or you're doing something where you're trying to communicate, that without a medium, you shouldn't worry about speaking your own native language? Would they hear you and understand you?
They would, but the thing, if there's a guide, a guardian around, they would do that particular role of coming in and transporting, you know, the information that you need, answering our language.
Right, okay.
You know, the way we talk.
I mean, there are some seances where some mediums take on the persona of a spirit and they do communicate in the different language, but
I'm not one of those sort of mediums. There's a different type of medium, physical mediumship, and so the type of mediumship I rely a great deal, radically, with Sam.
Sure.
Now, since we've come into this, can I tell you what we're playing here? Right. I saw when we first entered this room a moment ago, a group of people, a lot, as if, and they were, there was a lot of them lying down, and there was a lot of them huddled together. And as I entered that then, I could hear sounds. And I know it's a replay with the residual energy, as if I'm hearing, you know, all I can say is like, oh, above us, planes, bang, bang. And these people shaking and screaming and shouting. And I feel they were fearing for their life. And I feel that there was a lot of people from outside there all huddled in here for safety, for some kind of cover.
And that was in this room?
This whole floor, right the way through, and even some as we were coming up this way.
So not the bottom floor, up on this top floor?
I feel up on this floor, yes. Okay. And then I heard, then that left. Then I got another bit of residual coming out, and I heard a man talking and addressing people. And it wasn't those people. So I feel wartime, maybe the Second World War, there was a lot of things going on here, and people felt very, very, very scared. And they huddled in this big building, this castle.
Earlier, Derek had felt the spiritual presence of George Van Arkel in the castle's dungeon tower. However, he felt that other energies may roam the ancient cellars nearby. With the lights turned off and our cameras switched to night vision, perhaps a less disruptive atmosphere will coax these spirits forward.
In our short break there, I had earlier on the impressions of a man walking towards, up the hallway, to this doorway here, and look back at me, and as if he was wanting me to come up here and follow him. Since coming into the energy of this room now, the residual energy of this male, he most definitely is a priest, and I've been asking Sam, I've also been sending thoughts out to this priest, and I got a little bit of, since walking in here now, I feel most definitely that this man, this priest, I know we have many people of clergy, but this man is definitely a priest of Catholicism, a Catholic priest. And what keeps on striking me in front of me here is 18 something, 18-7, 18-7-3, 7-4, 7-5, within that period of time. And this priest must have been either designated to this castle, or he was given the thing to organise things here at this castle. And he felt as if it belonged to him, that was his role. And I feel his life was taken from him by a person that was involved in its own religion. This priest, through the Catholic Church, was designated to organise the convent, the convent of the ladies, of the nuns. It was a woman. It was a woman that killed him. It was a woman that took his life. She was of importance. Maybe she was at the head of the order. Oh, wow, wow, wow. I feel that this priest was in some kind of liaison, if you like, emotional, with the lady of the cloth also, and something went wrong. He let her down, or he pushed her aside, using her, and in a fit of rage, she took his life. She'd done it twofold.
How did she do it?
She poisoned him. She poisoned him, but she wasn't happy with that. She didn't think she did the job thoroughly. And then there was wounds. She tied his hands and his ankles, and then she put the puncture wounds in his neck and his chest. Oh, he's behind the wall. Oh, there's a wall here. I went to it earlier. Is that where he is? I know where it is.
What, his body is behind the wall?
His physical remains are behind this wall. It's down. It's
Do you want
down.
to go? Shall we go?
Can we go down?
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
Okay.
Derek's sensing of a priest's illicit relationship and his subsequent murder came as a shock to everyone. We had to follow this lead and head to where Derek felt that his body may lie.
Yes, this is it.
Let's put the torch on, Kieran.
In here.
In there?
Behind here somewhere.
So his body is buried behind there?
I feel it is, yes. Absolutely.
Can you make a link again with him?
Hold on. He was dragged, he was brought here, into this area. And only when she knew that his life's flow had gone from him, that she had the surety that she could cover him up. You see, oh gosh, oh wow. He was not here for any length of time. And whilst he was here, he did these things with this head, the mother of the order. And in a rage, he told her he was going. His physical remains are on the other side, for definite. Down. The other side, but down. It keeps on flooding to my mind, forefront of my mind, that area of time, whether that's connected with this. 1875, 1876. Okay, so bless you, thank you. I feel as if this priest is going to give us a lot more here this evening. Okay. Maybe he's just going to try what he's just tried earlier. He's never done that before.
Members of the castle staff were shocked to hear that human remains could lie within these very walls. It is known that some of the building's stairways were once bricked up, but if there was a deliberate act to hide a dark and sinister secret, then for now, that secret remained a mystery. But what other troubles would the night reveal to the most haunted team? Our second investigation in the Netherlands had taken us to Ammersoyen, a picturesque but remote castle where violence and torture were once prevalent. It was time to start the night vigils, so Kath, Tom and myself joined Kieran in the aptly named Dungeon Tower. Earlier in the evening, Kieran had placed a chair in front of the door so that no one else could enter the room, thus inadvertently disturbing the trigger objects that he had placed here.
Oh,
are you doing there, just with the chair against the door?
Yeah, but just making a note of the exact position of the 4 legs and the back of it.
Right.
Just in case anybody did move it. It'd be highly unlikely for them to put it in exactly the same position.
Anything?
No. Nothing picked up by the tape anyway. I had it on voice activated, so if there was any sound at all, and Vince and I tested it with just a click, then it would start recording, and there's been no tape that's gone through. I can leave that. In terms of the movement of the objects, there hasn't been any movement at all.
What's the tile from?
The tile is one of the original tiles from the upper tower room, where a lot of the phenomena has occurred.
Right.
This was taken out of the museum. And then that's a 14th century cannonball.
You just hoping the tile will either move or...
Yeah.
Sounds almost like a
What is that squeaking noise?
It's clearance.
No,
I'll show you.
What is the squeaking noise?
There's shutters on the outside of the window, and they're hooked by a metal hook against the wall of the castle. And any slight breeze makes the hook move up and down against the metal circle, and that creates that
Right.
sound.
Is there anybody here in this castle that can hear our voices and would like to try and talk to us? If you can, please can you try and make us know where you are? Please can you try and communicate with us in any way? Please come forward. Can you rap on the table in front of us? Can you make something move in this room? Can you make the temperature drop? Make yourself be known in any way so we can try and talk to you.
There are 2 objects on the trapdoor. Can you make those move?
Is there any spirit persons here in this castle that can hear my voice? Please use our energy. Please try and knock on the table. Please try and move something in the room. Or knock on the table. Is anybody here? Is there anybody here in this room with us now? If you can hear my voice, can you make the chandelier above our heads, can you make it move? Can you make it rattle? Can you do something for us so that we know that you're in this room with us now? Please come forward, please try and do something. Can you make something move? If I knock on this table, can you try and knock on the table after me? That was you, wasn't it, Karen?
I didn't knock underneath it, no.
My hand up over.
Do you want me to do it again?
I think it might have been your weight.
Well, I'm going to take my weight off the table and try again.
Is there anybody here in this room with us? If there is, please try and come forward. I'm going to knock on the table. Please can you try and reply by knocking back? Please try harder. Please try. Knock on the table if you can see us or hear us. Are there any spirit people here in the room with us now? If there is, please come forward and try so hard. That was you, wasn't it, Karen? That was you, wasn't it, Karen?
Given the bitter and bloody event that these walls once witnessed, we were all a little surprised at the tranquility that had so far surrounded us. The ghostly apparitions that are regularly reported at Ammersoyen hadn't reacted to these tests, but perhaps table tipping would evoke a response. At Kieran's request, artifacts from the castle's vaults were placed in the circle so that any spirits present could attempt to move them. Although some psychics feel that spirits can communicate using a universal language, everyone was keen to experiment using a foreign language. Therefore, we have asked Hodelieve, who works at the castle, to join the rest of the crew in the dungeon tower cellar, where she could translate our questions into her native tongue.
I want you to try and imagine that there's a white light at the end of your right hand. And you're going to push that white light up your arm, up your right arm, across your body and down your left arm. This light is going to travel and pass to the person on your left. And we're going to make this light move around the table to try and build up as much energy as we can.
Is there any spirit in this room with us?
Is er een geest in deze kamer bij ons?
Who did that?
Is there any entity in this room with us?
Is er enige geest bij ons in deze kamer?
I can feel a slight movement, but I don't know if it's me. Can anybody else?
No, I can't put my finger.
Thomas van Arkel, are you here with us now?
Thomas van Arkel, ben jij hier bij ons?
If you are here, please give us a sign.
Als je hier bent, geef ons dan alsjeblieft een teken.
Move the table.
Beweeg de tafel.
Or tap on the table. Bang on the table.
Tik op de tafel.
I can feel it. Is it not
There's a
moving?
vibration, there's
There's
a
a
vibration.
vibration there.
Try hard.
Alsjeblieft, doe je best.
Use our collective energy.
Gebruik onze energie.
And move the table, please.
En beweeg de tafel, alsjeblieft.
Did you just tap on the table then, Richard? With your finger?
No.
Did anybody else feel that?
No.
I did.
Thomas van Arkel, are you here with us?
There was a couple of vibrations there. I don't know if that was...
On this, I thought there was something that seemed to be slightly pulling, but it wasn't our fingers. But, perhaps need to give it time.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I suggest another room?
Yeah.
Because when the lady in blue was felled, she was always felled in the rooms where we were sitting just now, in our retreat room, and then above there. And she was always felled there. And I know that they had seances there, and then she was felt present. So maybe we should move there and try it.
If you don't succeed,
Try again.
After an uneventful start in the first night vigil, the subtle movement of the table encouraged everyone involved on this investigation, and we all agreed that a second attempt at table tipping could prove an even more productive experiment. But as we headed through the Knight's Hall towards the southeast tower, it suddenly became apparent that Ammersoyen may have life in it after all.
Well, we've just been in. Kieran and I have just been in to get this camera.
I've been moved by this somehow. That will make it move.
I can move it up and down. Has no one else walked through here with the table?
No, everybody else is focused on the table.
All of the crew had been gathered together in the dungeon tower when Carl and Kieran had discovered a chandelier swinging from the Knight's Hall ceiling, seemingly of its own accord. What was behind this inexplicable occurrence, and what other evil tricks did Kasteel Ammersoyen have to play on the most haunted team? The castle's southeast tower has long been the scene of ghostly apparitions, As well as the image of the priest that Derek sensed earlier, a blue lady is regularly seen roaming here, but as yet we have failed to establish her identity. Would she or any other spirit finally choose to make their presence known?
Whoever haunts this building, whatever spirit is here with us, please make contact with us. Please do so by moving this table.
Wie hier is, wie hier in het kasteel dwaalt, maak alsjeblieft contact met ons door deze tafel te laten bewegen. Alsjeblieft.
I can feel a very slight.
I can. Please keep trying. We know how hard it is, but please try and use our energy. Try and move the table. Use our energy. Whoever you are, please make contact with us. Thomas van Arkel, is it you? It's starting. I can feel it. Whoever you are, please don't give up on us. Please continue. Please try harder.
If there's anybody here, please move the table. Please try hard.
You hear that?
Yes, it's going.
Please try harder. Please move the table. Please try harder. Come closer.
Come on.
Come closer to us. Please try hard. Please move the table for a yes. This is our way of communicating with you. Thank you. Is there just one spirit here in the room? Are there more than one spirit in the room? Are there more? Yes. Go on. Can you see us? Can you see us? Are you around us? Do you want to talk to us? If your answer is yes, please move the table. Please use our energy. Come forward. Come forward. Come closer. Please move the table. Please move it harder so we know it's you. Please push the table more. Use our energy. Come on, please. Please move the table more.
We're now talking in English and in Dutch. But there have been people here, Flemish people, who speak French.
Right.
So, would it make any difference if we speak to them in French?
Try.
Is anybody here?
Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un ici?
We come here with the greatest respect for you.
Nous sommes ici avec le meilleur.
There's someone close by right now. Come in, Damon. Circle.
Did you hear that?
Yes. Yeah.
Qui êtes-vous?
Listen.
Who are you? Est-ce que vous êtes ici, maintenant, avec nous?
That's weird. It's just gone.
It started to develop, and it was gathering momentum, and it's just ceased a bit.
Was that tapping? Was it tapping or was it the table moving that made it
The table
noise?
moving and creaking.
You hear that?
Yes, it's going.
You hear that?
Yes, it's going.
How did it feel?
Not as strong, is it?
No, it's not as strong as we've experienced.
Try as we might, we had still only encountered minimal responses from 2 separate attempts at table tipping. One final effort was required, so Kath, Kerry and Rachel stepped forward to volunteer for lone vigils. With Kath in the Knight's Hall and Kerry settled in the dungeon tower, Rachel made her way to the marriage hall.
Is anyone here in this room with me? If you're here in this room, please, please, could you do something for me? Show me a sign, make a noise, say hello. If there's anybody there and you want me to leave, can you bang once? If you want me to stay, can you bang twice? Just need a little bang. Just need a little bang. Just need a little bang. I can hear lots of movement outside. Oh God, this is scary. Come on, make a noise. Bang on this table.
Despite everyone's best efforts, our second investigation in the Netherlands had yielded only a few events. Having witnessed the pronounced swinging of a large chandelier in the Knight's Hall, we set up a camera to monitor this empty area throughout the remainder of the investigation. But no other phenomena was recorded. Despite Richard, Derek and Rachel hearing this noise in the dungeon tower, and a tiny amount of movement from the table, we were all left extremely frustrated. If the spirits of the priest, the Blue Lady and the tragic Van Arkel family do still reside here, then for now they refuse to fully acknowledge our attempts to contact them.
Well, it's early hours of the morning, people are waking up, and the end of a fascinating 24 hours at Castle Ammersoyen. We spent a lot of time searching for ghosts, and it was extremely atmospheric. There's some super buildings, some super places, lots of very spooky rooms and staircases.
Am I going silly or crazy? But I've just seen washing machines, and they're just stacked up. Washing machines here.
In last night's investigation, Derek came up with one particular fact that was of interest to me as a parapsychologist. He claimed that he was seeing lots of washing machines in one of the rooms. Now, in my experience, mediums normally come up with impressions of people. If those people are holding objects, they'll also see the objects. But I've never heard of a case where mediums get impressions from inanimate objects, things with no life at all.
Come closer. Come on, come on. Come closer to us. Please try hard. Please.
Table tilting didn't work. It moved a little, but again it just shows that these things work in certain places and not in others.
Generally, last night's investigation revealed very, very little of a paranormal nature. In fact, one witness commented on the fact that ghosts were an English phenomena and not a Dutch one. This may have gone some way to explain why no phenomena was caught on camera or why none of the team experienced anything paranormal. Maybe there just aren't ghosts in Holland. Or, which I find more interesting, perhaps there's less suggestion going on in these haunted locations. People aren't aware so much of stories, of accounts of previous phenomena, and this doesn't raise the level of anxiety or fear that contributes to people experiencing something in haunted locations.
Castle Ammersoyen, to me, was not the most haunted place we've ever been to, but it was a fascinating place, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I don't know, perhaps the ghosts were out for the night.
Kasteel Ammersoyen had promised so much, but despite our best endeavours, had delivered so little. For now, its spirits remain silent. Until next time, sleep tight.